I hired in at Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company in Gadsden, Alabama, February the 5th, 1979.
Lily Ledbetter. She worked for Goodyear Tire and Rubber in Gadsden, Alabama for almost 20 years. Toward the end of that time, she got an anonymous tip on a slip of paper. Turned out she was being paid less than men doing the same work. A lot less.
I was shocked because there was so much difference in their pay versus mine.
By the end of 1997, Ledbetter was being paid $44,700 a year, while her male counterparts were making 25% more. She sued.
I thought and believed that if I had a problem, that I could carry it to a court system, whether it be local or federal or to the Supreme Court.
Okay, who can name one more?
Jump to the year 2000, Louisville, Kentucky. Children thriving at a great school. Why? Because of a local school board's voluntary plan to integrate. A plan like hundreds of others across the country, enacted by elected officials who, with popular support, chose to pursue the vision of one nation, indivisible.
80% of the parents said that they were in favor of the managed choice program that we had, that we were implementing.
All they were doing was trying to assure that every school had a mixture.
I like learning new things, and I like meeting new people.
But some families didn't like the school board's program. They sued to end it. What do these two cases have in common? This place, the Supreme Court of the United States, where Americans have sought justice for over 2 centuries, where an ordinary person can stand equal with the government, with a large corporation, with the rich and powerful, with the protection of our laws and our Constitution. Almost a century after President Lincoln ended slavery, Black Americans still suffered many forms of discrimination. Among the worst, segregated schools. In 1954, the Supreme Court declared unanimously such separate schools unconstitutional and ordered the integration of public schools. Brown versus Board of Education. It served us well for more than 50 years. And in 1965, Congress went even further, enacting the Civil Rights Act. It prohibited discrimination in employment, not just on the basis of race, but also on the basis of sex. Applying this law, a jury of Lily Ledbetter's peers awarded her compensation for the pay discrimination she'd suffered while working for Goodyear.
The jury had understood what we were telling them. They saw the proof, and there was no doubt.
Who could disagree? The Goodyear Company. It appealed the decision, arguing that the law said that such cases must be brought within 180 days. They said that 180 days started when Ledbetter received her first discriminatory paycheck, even though she didn't find out about the discrimination until 16 years later. So Lily Ledbetter wound up before the Supreme Court, and so did voluntary integration programs in Louisville and Seattle. And there they ran into a problem. President Bush had recently appointed 2 very conservative justices, John Roberts and Samuel Alito. And despite the lower court rulings and the Supreme Court's own precedents, they ruled against both the Louisville schoolchildren and Lily Ledbetter.
A major legal setback for workers in this country, the Supreme Court limiting employees' ability to file a lawsuit against pay discrimination.
That in a narrow 5-4 split, sided with Goodyear and handed big business a major win. But Justice Ruth
Bader Ginsburg took exception to the majority's decision. She quoted the Supreme Court's own precedent, which said that each discriminatory paycheck is illegal, not just the first one. Besides, she said the decision was unrealistic. Goodyear prohibited all its employees, including Ledbetter, from discussing their pay. She'd had no way of learning the truth until long after the discrimination had begun. Ginsburg concluded, "This court does not comprehend or it is indifferent to the insidious way in which women can be victims of pay discrimination."
She was exactly right, and I knew that she knew where I had been and how hard it is, and I felt like that she had been mistreated through the years as well.